Stage 4 has a collection of battles that, while they can dish out some damage, they're not the most threatening ones. So we start with Magma Dragoon and Neon Tiger. The one we're going to go after this time is we're going to go after Magma Dragoon because he's a lot less predictable. And you can get him stun locked pretty easily. The charge shot, as usual, does a good job. If you hit him with his weakness, he'll jump from one side of the screen, get hit, bounce in the air, jump to the other side. And really for this, you can ignore what Neon Tiger's doing for the most part. I mean, yeah, you can try to avoid getting hit, but if we're just doing one life per battle, then you don't have to worry too much. Yeah, it's pretty straightforward, as long as you stay out of the lava. The thing to remember with the lava is that is still a one-hit KO, so just watch out for that. So we've talked about Neon Tiger for a little bit, but one thing you want to keep in mind when it comes to this particular terrain with him is to give some distance. Don't get too aggressive or else he'll continuously turn orange and charge you. But when it comes to his shots, he shoots 5 shots at you from the ground, and it starts low, goes a little high, then hits or goes exactly to where you're at, and then high again and low again. And if we were going at a position from highest to lowest, with 1 being the highest possible shot he can do, it goes about 4, 2, 3, 1, 5. If that doesn't make sense, ask me in the comments and I'll see if I can explain that a little more. But that's how his shots go if he's on the ground. In general though, after he goes way in the air, he's either going to come down in a fairly regular angle, or he'll come down and try to slash you. Just dash a little bit away from yourself, and if he's not going exactly to try to slash your location, then you can probably dash or walk underneath him and be safe. And if he turns orange, he's just looking for your location, so back up just a little bit, or jump and dash over his head, and you're pretty much good. It takes a little bit longer, but nothing too threatening. We're still at about half health. You saw we took a lot of damage in the first part, and we're still kicking. This range of fights for this stage is not the most difficult. It's actually just a good, I'll call it a palate cleanser. It's a good rest and a change of pace from what the last few were. They're not easy, mind you, but they're easy enough. So for 4-2, we have 2 Mavericks that we've already talked about before, Axel the Red and Wire Sponge. Last time we talked about them, we went for both of them first. This time, we're going for Axel the Red, and the reason is, Axel is definitely more capable, or Spike Rose Red, of creating havoc, and can be put in a more concrete pattern with his weakness. You know, when you actually hit him with it, because you don't always hit him apparently. That being said, just like before, avoid damage where you can. In this case, I'm doing it because I'm using the same life from last time. And get him in his pattern, which will send him hopping. Fortunately, if you're timing yourself right, you don't have to deal too much with Wire Sponge in the meantime. But going with tip 6 of using the charged shots, or at least the charged weakness, definitely helps. Just keep your eye on which one is the real one. Try not to let the 2 Mavericks overlap too much, or Wire Sponge will take shots for him. And once you get him down, you can deal with Wire Sponge in a more methodical way. Wire Sponge likes to swing his chain, and then fire it at you. But there's a maximum range, so you try to keep him at the edges. And if you can't keep him at the edges, then you deal with the fact that he doesn't do very well with airborne enemies unless he's in the air and firing these little pods at you. In which case, move around a little bit, go ahead and duck and use a charge shot if need be until he gets into this little mode. Not too much to deal with there if you got enough space though. He can only reach so far. He's not too bad. In my opinion, this is actually easier than the previous one. Magma Dragoon is definitely more chaotic than either of them. And Wire Sponge, it's a little simpler to deal with. Sometimes he will block your shots, but even with this newfound ability with lightning, there's nothing too bad to worry about. And that's 4-2 for the most part. If you do things well enough, you should have a little bit of leeway going into 4-3, no matter which version you're doing. Legacy Collection 1 gives you Toxic Seahorse and Storm Eagle. As you're going to learn, there are some Mavericks that they really like, and Storm Eagle appears to be one of those Mavericks. I don't understand why, because he's not the most threatening out there. As a matter of fact, he's probably one of the least threatening, especially if he can't knock you into a pit. But we'll use that to our advantage. Now, Toxic Seahorse. As you can see here, he's got a very easy pattern. You hit him, he jumps into your location, and his weakness is a slow-moving target, or is a slow-moving projectile. So, just fire it and then move, and he'll jump into it. Unless, like Storm Eagle did a little bit earlier, unless Storm Eagle intercepts it. So, be willing to take the hit if it means you go ahead and hit him. It's actually quite amusing. He just seems to continuously jump into that stuff. Which, pretty soon after that, leaves us with Storm Eagle, who, as we said before, isn't going to blow you into a pit. At worst, he's going to blow you into a wall. He really only has 2 damaging attacks. Ramming himself into you, which, as we noted earlier, you can just move from the left to the right really fast. Or, he can shoot the birds at you, which the charge shot takes care of. Heck, you can even take advantage of the Z-Saber. Which, for the record, if I haven't mentioned this before, is basically using the special weapon button if you don't have one equipped. This guy is... I don't understand why they use him this much, but in the meantime, I'll take this time to go ahead and note that I really do appreciate if anyone that's watching and is getting anything out of this will go ahead and hit like, because it really means a lot to the channel and it would go a long way towards keeping videos like this going. So I know we didn't have much, but we've already gone through Storm Eagle in a much more dangerous terrain. The next one will be not incredibly difficult, but certainly more chaotic, and it includes another X1 Maverick. So stay tuned for that. So for Legacy Collection 2, we have Armored Armadillo and Izzy Glow, or Shining Firefly if you like bad names. Seriously, who is in charge of changing the names for that? Well, when it comes to this one, I'm actually going to tell you a little bit of a admission. I don't like Buster fighting Armored Armadillo. I never have. And I usually avoid it if I can. And the reason is he is so much easier with his weakness. It fundamentally changes the fight. So, tip 1, go after the Armadillo. Tip 6, use the charge shot. In the meantime, take advantage of the fact that Izzy Glow really isn't concerned with you half the time, to go ahead and just focus on knocking out the Armadillo. What I'd say is make your primary concern to make sure that your charge shot's going to hit him, and then your secondary concern is to avoid hits. Now once you're down to just Izzy Glow, as you can see here, he's just kind of meandering his way half the time. But keep your charge shot ready so that when he fires his homing Firefly, you can go ahead and hit that. And in the meantime, if he tries to use his large green laser, his tail laser, I really hope there are official names for this stuff, then if he's going from top to bottom, just go down to the ground and duck. He won't hit you. If he's going from left to right or right to left, make sure to stay at the section where he starts from. He won't start all the way at the end, but he will make it all the way to the end, so be cautious of that. Otherwise, just be pretty aggressive with him, unless you're very, very low on health, and you're probably going to outdamage him. He doesn't seem very concerned, and when it comes to dodging him, just make sure that you are either staying low or hover in the air if you need to. It's not too bad.